How's it going? So, I'm Tucker Carlson in the United States for my American viewers, and those of you outside the United States, you've probably seen clips of this. Tucker Carlson, who is a broadcaster on Fox News, and he's actually the only broadcaster on any of the legacy media who is trying to tell the truth about the things that are going on around the world. Well, he was deeply troubled by the fact that there's this group of African Israelites, I think they are. It's this crazy-ass group of guys who are African-American who believe all kinds of nonsense. I mean, they're just like really out to lunch. And a lot of the things that they believe in are kind of outrageous and or despicable, But the Biden administration is persecuting them because of free speech, because of shit that they have said. And like little posters that they put up here and there that mean nothing. I mean, they're just a little radical, crazy-ass outfit that has zero political impact, although they are fairly noticeable. But, they're more like an amusement, really, than anything else. I mean, you can't take them seriously. But the Biden administration is persecuting these people because of their speech. They haven't done anything. They haven't, burned down a building like Black Lives Matter did back in 2020. Oh, no. These guys, they just give their little speeches and their little bullshit and their little pamphlets, and that's it. And the Biden administration is persecuting them using the federal government to shut them down. Now, Tucker Carlson has been talking about this quite a bit, and with good reason, because this is the epitome of freedom of speech, to say something stupid and outrageous that most everybody disagrees with, but okay, fine, you do you, kind of thing, right?
Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rukok Radash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David, be born again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Asherallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about what you just seen this man comment on, right? And we're going to talk about his views regarding this truth of ours. Now, before I get into that, let's read this. This is Daniel 12 and 10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. Now, this man here, his name's Gonzalo Lira, and he's a fairly reputable author, even I think like a columnist or something, but mostly he's an author, right? And his political insights and views are pretty worthwhile. Okay, and he has a bit of a following, right? 74,000. But again, if you know this guy, he's an actual real journalist. Okay, and one thing is you would consider this man, right? When it comes to like world news, insights, things like that. This would be a wise man, right? Wise in this world, that is, right? And I believe he's of the Northern Kingdom, right? But that being said, his views on the truth, right, the whole Hebrew Israelite truth, is completely off. Why is that? Well, because this man, just like the majority of the world out there, is that they're lost in this world, right? Let's get. This is 2 Corinthians 4 and 3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of the Messiah, who is the image of God, should shine onto them. Now, what's happening is it's not necessarily, this lesson isn't necessarily going to be about Gonzalo's views on the Hebrew Israelites, right? Because that doesn't really matter, because we understand that the majority of the world can't understand this truth unless it's given to you, right? What did the Messiah himself say? That none could come onto the Father, or none could come onto him, least the Father sent them, okay? So that being said, this truth of ours, right? The truth of who the Negro, Latino, Native Americans truly are, even though it's written in countless historic books, countless testimonies, right? There's plenty of evidence to show that we are the true Hebrew Israelites of the Bible, right? When you put two and two together. But the thing is that there's something bigger here than just, physical evidence, right? There's a spiritual covering over this truth. There's a veil that's been drawn to hide this from the average person. And why is that? Well, because this truth isn't for everybody, okay? And this is the same reason why if you've come into this truth and you've tried to share this with your loved ones, your best friend or co-worker or whatnot, and you could be there explaining it perfectly to them, but this does not click with them, right? And that's because this truth can only be given by the Father, right? It can't be accepted by just anybody, okay? That whole, I chose God, and I gave myself to God, and I chose God. That's a bunch of BS, okay? The truth is that the Lord chooses the people, okay? What does it say? Many are called, but few are chosen, which means that the Lord's going to choose a lot of Israelites, that being people who are of the Negro, Latino, Native American, nations, right? Those of the 12 tribes, plus all those whose father's lineage goes back to that bloodline, right? They'll be called into this truth. They'll be given a chance to hear about it, and then, depending on if the Lord is dealing with them or not, and what experiences He's brought them through their whole life, they'll either accept this truth or dismiss it, either for not having enough time, being, like it says here, being blinded by the god of this world, right? The god of this world being these Edomites, okay? Right? Well, again, the point being is that man, he made a point regarding us. He called us black Hebrew Israelites, and again, if you've seen me, I'm not anywhere close to black, right? I'm a very pale Latino, right? I'm of the tribe of Issachar, so-called Mexican, okay? But either way, right, they would still label me a black Hebrew Israelite. But the point being is that he said that the Biden administration is now starting to persecute us. Well, what's happened is that the reason why that we're being persecuted is because those in power truly understand who we are. They understand that, they understand the true narrative of the world. They understand that the so-called leaders of the world, the small hatters, that they're operating under a false identity, right? This is what allows them to be in the land of Israel today, because they've claimed that land is there. But what does this video say?
Most Christian Zionists in America have no idea that the people living in Israel are not native, when I say the area of Palestine, Israel, whatever you want to call it, they were not born there. They immigrated from Europe.
Ashkenazi Jews.
They were Ashkenazi Jews who came in from Europe and with the rifle took the land. God didn't give it to them. They took it at the point of a rifle, shooting Arabs, and they killed Muslims and Christians. They slaughtered them, massacres, women, children, horrible massacres. That is the history of Israel, 1948, and I dare any Christian Zionist to prove me wrong, because I can show you the historical records of the massacres that took place in 48. It was horrible, absolutely horrible, the people who were killed. And because of that, the Arabs developed a fury, an anger that European Ashkenazis just flooded in to Palestine and violently pushed them off their land.
This is 1 Corinthians 1:27. But God has chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and God hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. So as you can just see in that video we just watched, there are some people who do understand what's happening. They understand that those people over in the land of Israel today are not the biblical Hebrew Israelites. And why is that? Well, that's because we're the Hebrew Israelites, okay? The Negro, Latino, Native Americans. We're the ones who fulfill the prophecies of the Hebrew Israelites, while they, the Israelis and these Edomites, they fulfill the prophecies of Esau, right? The last nation that will be ruling the world before the second coming of the Messiah, okay? And what the Lord is doing is exactly what we just read here, right? He is using the things that are considered foolish in this world to confound those that are considered wise, okay? So that man at the very beginning of this lesson, right, Gonzalo Lira, he is considered a wise journalist, right? But he can't see this. Why is that? Well, because his eyes haven't been open to the truth, right? Though the history's there, and there's people on his message board who are, saying, making statements that the BHI are, is the truth, and that he shouldn't condemn it unless he looks into it. See, he's not meant to understand this. Why is that? Well, because it's not for him, right? It's to him and a lot of other people out there, people on the street that walk by us while we preach, people who pass over our videos on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, or people who we've, in our families, our friends that we've told this truth to, right? We look foolish, we look crazy in the things that we're saying, okay? Saying that, that the system's going to collapse, that the Lord's going to come back in so-called UFOs, that we're going to get spiritual powers and we're going to be doing incredible things, and that those people in the land of Israel today are imposters. Though we have all the evidence and historical facts to back it all up, it still appears foolish to the average layman, and especially the average layman of modern day society, right? Because when you talk to the average person out on the streets, they can barely put together a sentence, right? If that doesn't have anything to do with what's on mainstream media or that's going viral on TV, right? Or social media or whatnot, right? The existence of independent thought is almost an extinct thing, okay? And this is why.
I think there are two ways in which people are controlled. First of all, frighten people, and secondly, demoralize them. An educated, healthy, and confident nation is harder to govern. And I think there's an element in the thinking of some people. We don't want people to be educated, healthy, and confident because they would get out of control. The top 1% of the world's population own 80% of the world's wealth. It's incredible that people put up with it. They're poor, they're demoralized, they're frightened, and therefore they think perhaps the safest thing to do is take orders and hope for the best.
And that's why the Biden administration, along with the elites and the rulers around the world, are secretly doing everything they can to stop the message that us Hebrew Israelites are out there pushing every day, be it online or on the streets, because those upper echelon rulers actually know the true narrative of the world, though they've managed to weave their webs of this false reality that we call it, existence today. They understand that everything is biblical, and they understand who the children of Israel are, right? And they understand that we're waking up, and that pretty soon the Messiah is going to come to rescue us. And that's why now they're going to try to stop us from sharing our the word of the Lord online, and then pretty soon it's going to become as you just seen a couple weeks ago when I posted, and other brothers posted, how over in the land of Israel today, they're pushing to adopt a law to make it illegal to talk about the Messiah, right? And these Christians think that it's actually targeted to them, and it's not, right? Because they've been teaching about white Jesus Christ and the whole Christian folly doctrine for the last 2,000 years, and it hasn't caused any problems, right? But now that the truth is coming out through the power of the apostles and their teachers and us brothers out here, now it's a problem, and now we're labeled as a hate group, right? Because why? Because the truth is coming out through us, right? And that's why you have all these disinformation agents, the mainstream media, even a lot of these false camps that have taken the bag and are basically agents for the state to discredit our truth. For example, One Body and Yahweh Shai, they're more likely agents, right? They've been set up so that way to muddy the waters and ultimately to try to delude the truth of this message, all right? But this is ultimately what this is going to lead to. This is Amos 8:11. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh Bashem El Shai, power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh Bashem El Shai. And that's what's coming, Akim, you know, right? All these videos we're making, all the spreading around the world, that this truth is reaching into, it's too much for these elites to combat, along with keeping up with the wars, keeping up with the other rising up people, right? So ultimately they're going to try to shut this truth down, right? So, you know, as for you Akim out there who are watching these videos, hey, you know, keep learning as much as you can, because fairly soon they're going to cut this truth out, okay? And you could see that they're working their ways to get that to happen by them passing that or by them trying to pass that Restrict Act, right? Or the TikTok ban bill, which really, like I made a video a couple, I think 2-3 weeks ago, that TikTok ban really is for us, right? So either way, Akim, I just wanted to share this, wanted to show how this truth appears to other people, but ultimately to the elites that understand what's really going on, they understand that we're a threat to their status quo, and that's why they're gunning for us, right? So hopefully this video was edifying. Until next time, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Bashem El Shai, Bashem Rakok Dash, double honors my teachers, the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.